Hello everyone and welcome back into another video. Today we're back in Warframe with another build, and this time we're having a look at the new Warframe Koumei. She is quite cute. I mean, if you find infested bodies cute, I guess, but yeah, she's cute, and she is also a puppeteer, and she is the only Warframe that can apply all status effects in the game onto enemies, so that's kind of unique, and I find it quite interesting. She is not exactly loved right now. I mean, her kit is a bit, well, let's say unique. So yeah, not everyone likes it, and I think that's fine. I guess we will see some buffs in the future because, yeah, she does need some buffs. Anyways, that's enough introductions for now, so let's jump into the build. Alright, first of all, let's have a look at her abilities, starting from the passive. Every 60 seconds, Koumei grants one of your weapon the ability to apply random status effects for 60 seconds. As you can see on the bottom right, there is a little circle with a little bar that's slowly going down, and with an icon inside that shows which weapon is currently buffed. In this case, it's a sword, so your melees will apply random status effects when you hit enemies, so that's pretty cool. And the second part of our passive are those dices you see on the right. Those will determine the damage of your abilities, and if you manage to roll, there we go, 3 6s, the ability will deal something different, and in this case, it summons these special wires that look like this, so like kind of silver wires, and they will apply all status effects in the game, so that is pretty cool. This first ability is called Koumei, and it deals damage depending on the roll you get, in this case 49.75 times the roll you get. And how it works is it summons this ball that can travel a distance of up to 43.5 meters. The ball will bounce around walls and corners, so it can cover a kind of larger-ish area if you manage to bounce it correctly. The summon threads last for 13 seconds, and each thread summoned will be 21.75 meters long. And as you can see there, if you roll triple sixes, those special wires will be created that deal every elemental status effect in the game. Then we have our second ability called Omikuji. When you cast the ability, you're given a special challenge that requires you, for example, to kill enemies while airborne, kill enemies with headshots or with a specific damage type, and after you complete these challenges, you get a random decree. Yes, the ones from Duviri. So that is quite powerful, I mean, if you get the good ones, because there is no way to choose which decree you get. They are just random, you get one every time, and every time you complete a challenge, the cooldown for the ability increases up to a maximum of 150 seconds. So there's a point where you can only get one decree every 150 seconds, not counting the amount of time it requires you to actually complete the challenge. So yes, stacking decrees is going to be a nightmare, and you can realistically get like 3 or 4 in a normal mission if you're the only one killing, because all the challenges require you to kill enemies. I don't see it as an ability, I see it more as a passive, so yeah, I think this needs buffing, like reducing the cooldown, and also allow us to choose between 3 decrees as it is in Duviri, because that will at least help with stacking some decrees. The challenges can stay the way they are if they add these changes, because having a lower cooldown and also the ability to choose which decree you want is going to make those decrees more powerful, so that's gonna balance everything a bit more. You can also hold the ability to forfeit a challenge, and that will start the cooldown again, so either you complete the challenge or you skip the challenge, the cooldown will still go up. But at least if you get a triple six, you don't have to complete a challenge, you just get the random decree, and that is fine and all, but again, 150 seconds, that is not exactly great. And the way her second ability works is you cast it, this mission shows up, and you can always see the mission on the top left corner under your minimap, so it's always gonna be there. Okay, so for example, now we just need one more enemy to be killed with toxin damage, and we can easily do that by using our wires and stuff. There will be an enemy that is affected by toxin here, so let's just kill him. And as you can see, we gain 1 decree, and if you enter your pause menu, you can see the decree over here. In this case, it's Assassin Rush. Again, it's completely random, so you have no control over what you get, you just have to deal with it. Then we have our third ability called Omamori. Whenever you cast ability, you summon these Omamoris around you, and every time you are hit by enemy fire, all the Omamori have a 50% chance to block the damage and convert it into healing. After the effect is triggered, there's a cooldown of 3 seconds before the next Omamori can take effect, so you are vulnerable for about 3 seconds, and then you can convert damage into HP again, so it's not 100% immunity to damage, but it does help with survivability, and if your Koumei is tanky enough, this will be just passive healing, so that's pretty cool. And the amount of Omamori you get depends on your rolls, and you can recast ability whenever you reach around 5 Omamori, so at least you don't have to go to 0 every time. Additionally, if you roll triple sixes, you are granted invulnerability for the whole duration of your Omamori, so if you, for example, have 30 Omamori and you roll 3 sixes until you have 0 Omamori, you will be invulnerable to damage, so that is very powerful, although it's very random. And if you're curious about her stat ability, whenever you cast it, you gain these Omamoris around you, and each Omamori, as we said, has a chance to block damage and convert it into healing. But yeah, there is a 3-second cooldown, so you're still gonna take quite a lot of damage, and yeah, it's not great for survivability. I do suggest you run something else if you don't want to end up like this. So yeah, don't rely on Omamori too much unless you get the triple sixes. So let's see if we can get it. There we go. Okay, so we now have triple sixes, so we should be invulnerable to damage, and we can just stand in here and take no damage. But yeah, don't rely too much on it. It's just a thing that can happen, although it's quite powerful. And finally, we have her fourth ability called Bunraku. This is pretty much her best ability, because what it does is it applies a random amount of statuses depending on your role onto all enemies in front of you. The ability costs energy and has a cooldown of 3 seconds, so you cannot just spam the ability, you have to wait 3 seconds. And if you get triple sixes, you apply even more status effects, and the AoE of Bunraku also extends to behind yourself, so that's gonna be pretty cool because you can cover the whole map. Now moving to her Archon Shards, we can see that I focus heavily on green ones, 2 of them with +2 to corrosive, so I can fully armor ship enemies, and 2 of them with +15% ability damage on enemies affected by corrosive status. Finally, I'm running a Crimson Shard for ability duration, because that way at least I don't have negative duration. Even a normal one will be enough. And this is the build I am using. I have growing power for more ability strength in my aura slot, power drift in my execute slot, but if you want to invest more formas on your Koumei, you can of course use, for example, Prime Sure-Footed or any other Exilus you want, Blind Rage for more ability strength at the cost of ability efficiency, Hunter Adrenaline to convert the damage we take on health to energy, Archon Vitality for more HP and also to double the amount of hit statuses we apply, Archon Flow for a bigger energy pool, and also to drop energy orbs, Archon Stretch for more ability range, and also to regenerate 2 energy per second for 5 seconds when we deal electricity damage with our abilities, Archon Continuity for more duration, and also to make our abilities that inflict toxin also apply corrosive, Adaptation for more survivability, and Fleeting Expertise for a lot more ability efficiency to counteract Blind Rage. Then in my arcane slots, I'm using Molt Augmented for even more ability strength, and also Arcane Energize to replenish a lot of energy once in a while. Moving to the weapons, I'm using the Higaza, but the build is not complete yet. I still have to grind the special mode for this weapon. My secondary weapon is the Grimoire, and I use it mostly for Netra Invocation for more ability efficiency, that way I can spam my abilities even more. But if you want, you can go for more strength with Vomi Invocation, or even more duration with Riz Invocation. And finally, I'm using the Costasis as my melee of choice, and this is gonna be the weapon we are gonna use most of the time, because it deals a ton of damage, it applies a ton of statuses, and that means when Koumei's passive is on melees, this weapon will pretty much apply all statuses in the game, and we are pairing that with the melee influence, that way we can spread those statuses to all the enemies within 20 meters for 18 seconds, and yeah, you can see where this is going. This melee build for Koumei is gonna be quite interesting. In my focus tree, I'm using Madurai for the usual 50% more casting speed and 40% more power strength. And since Koumei is a bit of an RNG Warframe, I paired her with the RNG Cat, which is gonna be your Smithakavat. This is the build I'm using at the moment, and this is the build for the claws. And that was pretty much the build and her abilities explained. Let's now see it in action. Okay, so what we want to do is cast our 1 as much as we can, and that will apply a few statuses. As you can see, some guys have magnetic, some others have gas, and whatever. We also want to apply the Madurai buffs to ourselves, so 40% ability strength and 50% casting speed. We also want to use our Grimoire to gain ability efficiency, so we can spam all our abilities even more, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We want to roll those triple sixes as soon as possible with our 1, because it's the easiest one to trigger. Remember that, yeah, you can only have 1 active, so after you get the triple sixes, swap to your other abilities, deal something else. You can recast it if you want, doesn't really matter, but you do lose a bit of damage, and that's gonna be her damage, pretty much. with only her abilities. As you can see, it isn't exactly a lot of damage. Like, even spamming her 4 won't be enough to kill enemies. It's dealing damage for sure, but it isn't quite there yet. So this is not how you should play Koumei. It's a Warframe that requires you to use both abilities and your weapons in the best way possible to get the most out of it. For example, if I were to cast my 1 and my 4 and then use my melee, let's say this much, that is enough to kill the whole map, because I use both my abilities and my melee. And as we said, her passive allows that specific weapon to apply random status effects, and what happens is this. All those enemies have all those statuses, so that's pretty cool. I suggest you run some high fire rate weapons as your primary and secondary, and use a very strong melee, like for example the Cost Assist, to deal the most amount of damage. And that is pretty much Koumei. She does need some more love. I think her kit is very fun to play and very unique, and something we have never seen in Warframe, but yeah, her second ability does need some changes, and Omamori does need to be a bit more effective in terms of survivability, because right now it isn't exactly the greatest. I will now leave you guys to the showcase where I tested this build in a 10-minute survival in Steel Path against some greener enemies, so you can see what she's able to do in a more realistic scenario. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Have a great rest of the day, and bye-bye.
The silhouettes burning, the embers rising high, like a chemical fire. The flame won't die. Intertwined, darling, you and I. And my heart is coming. scratching the surface. This obsession of mine is fueling the furnace. I'm up all night intertwined. Darling, you and I, and my heart beats cold under your control. Just let those got a ticket to nowhere. Come and fly away with me tonight. Can you stay till the morning? Can you tell me that everything's alright? Lose my mind and I'm falling for you. I get up, I'm in need of us too. Got a ticket to nowhere. When the fighting is over, it goes on and on and on and on, on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on, on and on and on. And your eyes on your body. You don't have to tell me you don't care. I just need you to hold me. I just need you to show me anything. Lose my mind and I'm falling for you. I get up, I'm in need of us too. Got a ticket to nowhere. When the fighting is over, it goes on and on and on and on, on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on, on and on and on. It goes. We are all the same.